A friendly mandrake, a helpful hide entity, whatever this blue weird skull thing is. Yeah, that's right. I'm making a bunch of Doors entities friendly. Well, not quite, as these entities are actually buddies. You see, recently, Doors introduced their new buddy feature to the game. You can now bring little pets into your playthroughs that you can interact with and play around with. Currently, there's only one obtainable buddy in the game, that being the Pumpkin, a pumpkin dog hybrid that is only obtainable during this year's Halloween event. However, I think that the buddy system has a lot of potential. So I've created a few completely new buddy concepts which turn the harmful entities you come across in the game into allies which you can carry around. In this video, I'll be going over all of these buddy concepts and explaining how they will work. We have got a lot to discuss today, so with all of that being said, let's begin. Alright, so the first buddy I created is probably my favorite one, and that is the Friendly Mandrake, a creature I like to call the palnipian. Its name is a play on the word parsnipian, which is what Grampy calls the mandrakes in the outdoors. However, I changed it to palnipian since the mandrake is your pal rather than your foe. In the outdoors, players have to pick up and hold harmful mandrakes in order to shove them back into the ground. However, I feel that in addition to that, it would be cool if you could just hold mandrakes that don't try to kill you. The palnipian is just that, a friendly mandrake, and its design has a few notable differences to differentiate it from the normal harmful mandrakes. Most notably, a lotus is placed on the center of their head, and the typical 3 leaves that are usually there are moved back a little. The character also has a more pink color scheme, yellow eyes, and 2 large top teeth to make it seem more friendly. In fact, I just removed a bunch of its other top teeth and just kept the front 2 ones, so I guess there's that too. As for functionality, the palnipian would have a variety of interactions, most of which are already seen with the Pumpkin buddy in-game. Currently, there are only 3 things you can do with your buddy, those being to equip it, left-click, and right-click it. Each action causes you to do something unique with the buddy, whether it be to hold it out, pet it, or just turn it around. I think more actions should be added to the buddies to make them more unique, including the palnipian and the pumpkin. For one, if you press X whilst holding it out, the buddy would drop to the ground and begin following you. Buddies can't be dropped like normal items, so hopefully this would act as a replacement for that dropping feature. Additionally, pressing the spacebar whilst holding your buddy would cause you to throw it up into the air and then you would catch it. In addition to these though, I'd imagine the palnipian would still wriggle around its vines just like a normal mandrake when held, and it would playfully scream every so often, which compares it to the normal mandrakes, which are built entirely around just screaming. Moving on though, the next buddy concept I've created is probably my least favorite, and that is the Hider's Box. I've always really liked the idea of Hide appearing in the hiding box item from battle mode, given how they appear in hiding spots, and the hiding box is, as its name suggests, a hiding spot. And with this buddy, that can actually happen, albeit with a twist, that being that Hide is now friendly. This buddy features a smaller version of Hide who sits inside of the hiding box item from battle mode, and you could interact with this friendly version of Hide by simply clicking the buddy. I'd imagine you could pet them or spin them around. Now, as I said, this is probably my least favorite concept due to how basic it is, and that's because I've come up with one that's even better, which unfortunately I wasn't able to model due to its technical limitations. This other concept is one which I think is similar to the Hider's Box, where it's an entity inside of a box, but instead of Hide, it would be Jack. Some of you probably already heard me talk about this, but I think it'd be cool if there was a Jack-in-the-Box buddy, where it functions like a typical Jack-in-the-Box, but instead of a clown or puppet popping out of the item, it would be Jack's face. I wasn't actually able to model this one, as it was too technically advanced for what I'm capable of creating in Roblox Studio, but I just really love the wordplay with the word Jack-in-the-Box, and I think having a friendly version of Jack could be cool. After all, Jack is already somewhat friendly in-game already, as they don't actually harm you, they just jump scare you. I'd imagine just holding out the Jack-in-the-Box would not have Jack popping out of it, and he would only pop out if you click the box. I also think it'd be cool if Jack's head could sometimes just slightly peek out of the box if you're holding it whilst idle. Like I said, I can't really showcase these ideas in the form of a model, since I'm not skilled enough to make the Jack-in-the-Box concept in Roblox Studio, but hopefully, just based on my words, you get the idea of what I'm trying to describe. Moving on, the last buddy concept I've created isn't actually a friendly version of an entity, besides maybe Bob because it's a skull, and it's what I like to call the riddling skull, a reference to the item of the same name from Roblox history. This concept doesn't look anything like the historical riddling skull, but I thought the name could be a cool reference, and it actually ties into the item's functionality, which I will get into a little later. Visually, the skull is dark purple with a slight pink gradient, and it wears a blue wizard hat. It also has some guiding light theming on it, such as a neon blue eyes, as well as guiding light's moon symbol on its hat. Functionality-wise, the riddling skull is probably the most unique buddy out of the ones I've created, as instead of just petting it or spinning it around when interacted with, the riddling skull would act as a channel for guiding light to supposedly speak directly to you inside the game. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, but let me explain what I mean by that. Essentially, you know how Guiding Light is always trying to help you inside of the game? They tend to give you useful tips about how to avoid entities or hazards whenever you die to them? Well, by interacting with the Riddling Skull, it would actually talk to you, stating tips or fun facts you never knew about the game. Depending on how you interact with the skull, it would tell you something that fits into a certain category. For example, left-clicking the skull would cause it to give you a vague, albeit helpful tip about doors, and how to beat the game, similar to how Curious Light works. Right-clicking the skull would cause it to give you a fun fact about the game, something interesting to know but not really useful for beating it. Going back to the other functionalities I proposed, if you press space while holding the riddling skull, it could give you something more emotional, such as telling you to stop throwing it around or to put it down. I just think a buddy mechanic like this would be really unique and cool, especially if tied into a character such as Guiding Light. So, to summarize, I created 3 buddy concepts for doors. The first is the palnipian, a friendly mandrake that is oddly pink in color and has a lotus on this head, which I think is pretty cool. The second is the hider's box, a buddy that combines the hide entity and the hiding box item from battle mode. I also came up with the Jack-in-the-Box buddy, that features Jack popping out of a typical Jack-in-the-Box toy, but I couldn't really model that as it's too technically advanced for what I'm capable of creating in Roblox Studio. Lastly, the final buddy concept I created is the Riddling Skull, a blue Guiding Light themed skull that would speak directly to anyone who interacts with it. So, with all of that being said, let me know in the comments what you think of all of these buddy concepts, as well as what features you would add on to them, as I definitely think buddies as a whole, not just these concepts, should have a lot more interactions with them, so that, you know, they're worth getting, as if they're just kinda useless, then why would you spend money on them? And thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.